about, and I love it when they do that. I hate it when just because they've been going for 25 years, they start changing it.
I can't believe that you went to this, that you knew you were going to this, and you never asked me, you never asked Jonathan if you could get me in. I mean, seriously, I mean, you know how much that would have meant to me.
Yeah, but it was very tight. Apparently, I know, but it was very sort of. Apparently, Richard Branson couldn't get in. There was a queue, so I was like special. It was me and Jane went. David Baddiel and Frank Skinner.
Oh, what? Some new showbiz friends of yours?
No, I mean I'm rubbing it in, Steve.
I can't. I'm just.
But you might not have liked it. You might have complained like Carl got you the Cure, and you turned it back on it.
That was rubbish, though. That was rubbish.
Well, you might not like what David did. You know,
I'll tell you this seriously. If I find out that you do that you've gone to some secret gig or office, there's no more. No, I'm not joking. I'm not mucking around, because that to me is like that's what friendship is. That's like a textbook example of friendship.
What do you think, Carl?
No, I just think that's really off.
No, you were away.
Really
you were.
No, I wasn't away.
Yeah, you were, yeah.
I wasn't away. Don't try and fool me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been away if I was away. I wouldn't have been away if you told me that was happening.
You were asleep.
I'm seriously. We can joke about it, but I'm really angry about this.
What do you think, Carl?
There's a secret, right? Apparently there's a secret Bruce Springsteen gig that's been planned.
I'm going.
Are you? If I find out you're at that, I will. I mean.
Oh dear.
Play a record so I can shout expletives at Ricky Gervais. I tell you what, lovely bit of electronic.
Oh.
Just to calm and soothe me. Seriously, I'm not joking, that really winds me up. That really winds me up.
The Cure was good.
Electronic, getting away with it. Nice to hear that again, Rick.
Yeah, lovely. Level that.
Someone's just,
you've had a bit of result, haven't you?
Well, no, there's a guy who's phoned up who said he might be able to sort me out with the Springsteen ticket, so I'm deeply excited about that. But, you know, people don't get complacent. He might not be able to.
Steve demands a lot of hard work.
Well, he might not be able to sort it out. You know, he's going to make some calls, but if he can't, then, you know, keep calling or emailing ricky.gervais.
You'll be taking me, won't you? Because after that rant about me not taking you.
Well, you're welcome to go. I mean, if you told me that before, I probably could have blagged some using your name. If you let me do that, I could have phoned out the promoter. I'm calling on behalf of Ricky Gervais, the winner.
Dear.
He'd have probably sorted me right out. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, we joking aside, it is quite serious. And as I say, I don't want to pay through the nose for him. You know, I'm willing to go up to sort of £47. They cost 45 face value.
Like that Steve trying to impress a girl in a queue. Offered the bouncer £2 for himself if he could go to the front of the queue.
Man, that was so embarrassing. I tried to bribe. Did I tell you that, Clara? I tried to bribe the bouncer. He was coming out. He was just. He thought he was in total. He was like the bouncer of the Met Club, the Met Bar or something.
Tenner in.
He was no, he wasn't. He was picking people off, right? That was it. He was picking people off, and he was going, you can come in, you can come in. I got chatting to a couple of girls. I thought, I'm in here. I'm sorry, dear. And I thought, I'll act flash. I'll try and bribe my way into the club. The guy was walking past. I cornered him. I went, "Wee, how much is it to go in?" He said, £5. I went, "I'll give you 7." And £2. I thought, because the problem I had was I didn't want to go straight to like a tenner, because if he accepted 7, I didn't want to be down. I didn't want to waste money.
Right, Steve.
I thought we could at least haggle.
It was the term. Is that frugal? What is the term for that? Thrifty?
But I'm resenting this because you are trying to create this myth that I'm somehow, you know, like that I'm somehow cheating my money, or that I'm not a great lover. Do you know what I mean? And that's sort of, I'm like, it's annoying me, frankly.
Oh dear. Carl, you went to Habitat this week, didn't you?
You're not going to believe this, Steve.
Go on. He told me this. No.
Do you know I told you about those lads at school with big heads?
Sure. Yeah, the big head lads. Yeah.
Right.
And the web feet.
Yeah, webbed hands.
Webbed hands, was it?
They weren't there, were they?
They weren't there, but do you know, like Ricky was always saying, "Oh, they don't exist. They only went to your school," you know, la la la. It was in Habitat. There was only one sat on a sofa. Not one of the lads, but one of the
big-headed lad.
A big-headed lad.
What? Is that like when you say a big-headed lad? Is he like Frank Sidebottom big head? I mean, is it like?
I don't know what it. This is why. You know, it'd be nice to...
You think it's maybe a medical...
Well, it'd be nice to, if there's a doctor listening, right?
Yeah, a doctor listening to X-Ray, I'm thinking, I must phone up and fuel Carl's obsession with the deformed.
Yeah.
No, but it's not really deformed.
But how big is the head?
Probably, you see, it's weird how it's always kids who I see with it, so I'm wondering whether... They have
grow
a
into the
full-size head,
right,
and then when they get older, it works out alright.
Like jumpers. My mum used to get me jumpers a size too big, so it'd last a year.
So, I'm just wondering if it's the same
So how old are these generally? Are they not like adults? They're like kids.
Well, when I was at school there, I was probably about 7, and this kid on
And do they have to
on
wear any
Sunday-
kind of apparatus to sort of keep their head from kind of, you know, not tipping them over or sort of staying
Well, like a
upright? I mean,
breast
well, I'm just worried that the head's kind of too heavy for their body or something in there.
No, I mean, it's not that big.
Right.
It's just not right. You kind of go, you sort of do a bit of a double take.
Yeah.
Like the fringe isn't sort of, you know, just above their eyes. It's quite high up.
Sure. That sickens you, obviously. And is it something that repulses you slightly? Do you get
No. That'd be cruel.
No, sure.
But you know,
But it's not cool to discuss it on the radio.
well, it happens,
Sure,
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I'd just like to know what it is. If it's like a water on the head type
A water on the head type thing.
Like water on the knee,
yeah,
but on the
water
head.
on the head.
But yeah, if anyone knows what it is,
Yeah. People with big heads.
yeah,
And it's, okay.
it'd be good.
Good information.
So, what time are we doing?
You sure it wasn't perspective? You sure he wasn't sort of leaning forward and he was really tall? So the top of the head looked quite big, but then it went to a little body, but really his body was a lot further away.
No, big head.
Yeah.
Just a big head. Rest of his body, fine. Face, okay, everything's normal.
You weren't looking at him in a kettle.
If you wore a hat, it'd be alright, but
What do you mean if he wore a hat he'd be alright?
you'd probably just think, oh, it's a big hat. Or something.
Yeah, but what sort of hat?
So you look like a 10-gallon hat.
Yeah, that would go down onto his shoulders with 2 eyes cut in it.
Yeah, like something from the Ant Hill mob.
Yeah, Michael Bentine's potty time.
Yeah.
How would a hat help him?
Yeah. Are you sure this wasn't a Diddy man?
I'm not being mean, I just want to know what it is.
No. Okay. Well, if you are a doctor listening and you want to use your kind of free Saturday.
Not the doctor who phoned the bloke in America and said, "Where do I get blood from?"
Sure.
Not that doctor, because I assume he's been struck off now. Giving.
Sure. Give us a call and sort out the whole big head conundrum. What's the number?
08700 800 1234.
That's also the number to call if you have Bruce Springsteen tickets available. I will pay up to £47.
Don't do it. Go yourself. Don't give them to Steve for cost price. Make a little profit.
Oh,
I mean, don't take the
seriously, don't
mickey.
wind me up. You know what I feel. You've already ruined the bad thing. Don't ruin some more of my
But I'll
dreams.
tell you what. If you do get Steve a ticket, he'll be so grateful that he will spend a bit of money on you. I imagine
exactly.
you'll buy tickets and give him something pretty special because you're earning now, and
Yeah. So let me discuss that with them. I mean, let's not make any promises.
Yeah, you're in the middle of a phone call there, aren't you? Is that poor bloke still on the line?
Probably not, no, he's gone.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
oh, you're in the middle of
white,
something.
white stripes there.
Yeah, dead leaves and the dirty ground. Steve, what are you doing?
Sorry, man. I'm just sort of preoccupied with other stuff. I've got the whole Springsteen thing I'm worried about. I've got that playing on my mind.
I've never seen Steve so worried. Like, usually he sits there with his head.
Rick, I've made promises to people I can't keep. I promised about 3 different people I'm getting them tickets. So,
Well,
just
serves you
making
right.
some calls, Rick. That's all.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
Are we doing the game in this hour or what?
Oh, we could do. Should we do that? Your game.
Well,
What was that thing you told me the other day as well? Of talking about it. People have been phoning up about this. I don't think we should talk about conditions of the mind and brain.
Well, that woman's put you right.
Yeah, shown us it's hydrocephalus. It could be, and all it is that it's totally curable and normal life. What they do is it's a baby born with sort of water on the brain, and it comes out. Must hurt a bit in childbirth, and then they just drain it off. It's just full of water.
I tell you what.
What?
Just reminded me
What?
weird stuff going on in the
But it
world.
wasn't a baby, was it? Maybe it was a baby. Maybe it was a baby, but it had water on everything.
Well, listen, right, this was a kid with a big head, as far as I'm concerned. He wasn't a baby. But we know what he's got, everything's sorted. But other things, right, that are weird in the world,
Yeah,
you
go
know,
on,
you're
Carl.
always like, you're going on about, there's no ghosts and stuff,
Yeah.
right? How do you answer this one?
Yeah.
Someone here, who I work with,
Yeah.
right, I'm not going to say they are, because it doesn't matter, but they were eating, space cake, right?
What do you mean by that, Carl? Explain.
What's a space cake?
For people who...
It's some sort of druggy cake, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
A dope brownie or whatever, yeah.
Right.
So it's something with cannabis in it, is that what you're saying?
I think it's something stronger than that, isn't it? I don't know. But anyway, he was having this space cake, and...
You better give me the name now, Carl, because I've got to report him.
well, listen.
It's only... No,
It
'cause
really
is
doesn't
still...
matter.
No.
Is it Sturgis? Was it Claire Sturgis?
Yeah,
She
let's say
wouldn't
it
bother.
is.
She's gone on the hardest. She doesn't
Sure,
bother with
yeah,
those.
she's just
It
jacked straight up.
doesn't do anything to her
Straight
now.
to the vein, yeah.
So listen, right? So he's at a party, right,
Yeah.
with his mates, and they're listening to the Star Sailor album, right?
Right.
and he sat there, and he's had some of this cake,
Right.
and he's listening to the album, and his mate sat across the way talking to someone else. Right?
That's weird.
The album's on, and he thinks to himself, this track's going on a bit.
Yeah.
And his mate across the way, who's talking to someone else,
Heard him say it.
heard him say it, and he goes,
Yeah.
yeah, it isn't it?
Yeah.
So he goes, oh,
Right.
and he goes,
See, usually at this point, I say this bloke taking drugs, but you started the story with this bloke
no.
had done some drugs, right, Rick?
No, if he was here now,
Yeah.
right, he would say, yeah, I know it sounds mental,
Yeah.
but it happened. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just a one question, it wasn't just like, oh, this track's a bit long, innit? Yeah, it is.
He had a
It
whole
was
conversation.
A whole conversation
Sure.
with the guy. And
Yeah.
the-
But sorry, I just want to clarify. You mean he had the whole conversation telepathically?
yeah.
Right. He didn't just shout across the
And
room.
they've recently met up and like they've sat there and tried to like work out what happened. And it's never happened
Presumably they
again.
don't have to talk at all anymore.
Yeah. Why did they meet up? Couldn't they just like in their own homes? Just stay at home,
Do they have to have that cake before they
Yeah, before
start
they have
having a
to chat.
conversation? Hold on, wait a minute, lads. Why are we using our lips?
Yeah.
This is using way too many for. Oh, take them. There you go.
My only question with that is, being skeptics like Ricky and I, whenever we hear a story like that about the paranormal, the first thing we always look for is maybe some other explanation.
Yeah.
Maybe one vague idea.
Lying.
Could be lying.
Chinese whisper.
As I think you pointed out, there are drugs. It's often,
Drugs.
an issue as well.
Madness.
Yeah.
Fear. Delusion. Sleep.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many things you go through.
I'm gonna go with the drugs.
before your dead grandmother
Exactly.
pops into the equation.
I'm
for
gonna
me.
go with the acid.
Right, tell the other story that you totally believe this as a true story, don't you? The fella with the being killed.
Right, do you know how the other week we were talking about some fella who had his head cut off, and he said, when the head goes into the basket, I'm gonna blink a lot, see how many times I can blink.
But if you remember, when Carl first told me that, it was, I think it was Simon or Nick that pointed out. He goes, no, that's not quite right, Carl. Carl told me that he had his head cut off, and when his head was in the basket, it looked up and said, count how many times I blinked.
Yeah,
But he
sure.
believed that as well.
Yeah,
so he was happy. He was happy with that.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, a couple of weeks ago there was a guy, he had his head cut off, and before he had it off, he'd said, I'm going to blink to show that there's life after death.
And
he'd done
he
it.
did 32 blinks,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So, you two were sort of pointing that down the other
Yeah,
week.
we were sceptical of that.
So, I looked again
On the internet?
at some other website.
Yep.
And there's a guy...
Sorry, it's the website, just to clarify, the website is the place where you bought that property on the moon, didn't you? Because it was a bargain.
Right, so, this guy...
Been gazumped.
Look, we'll see who's been gazumped when this world ends. I've got somewhere to go, right? And I know you'll be calling me up, saying, oh, can I come with you?
Have you got, like, 2 squares foot?
No, I've got acres.
You're gonna have to stand deadly still on the moon in your 2 square foot.
I've got about
There's
20
no place for
acres.
Suzanne, it's just for you.
It's,
I'm off, love.
it's all those people with big heads and web feet that've been buying it all these years.
Well, listen, right?
Go on.
Anyway,
Play a record, tell us a story after it. We've been chatting for
Sorry,
far too long.
Carl. No, there's no
Play a
record.
tune, we'll come back with
What
this.
do you wanna
What's
play?
this, another ghost story?
Let's play one of my favourite songs of all time. I'm going on holiday and getting into a lovely serene mood. Sorrento is probably from that. It's Neil Young, After the Gold Rush.
Beautiful. Still to come, that competition as well. Look forward to that. Carl's quiz.
Yeah. What an amazing track that
Beautiful
is.
tune, yeah.
Neil Young,
Dynamite.
After the Gold Rush. So go on, Carl. Sorry. Go on, Carl.
So just take us back a few steps, Carl. What's the story?
right, so I did some...
There was a guy you read about who had his head chopped off. He was guillotined.
Yeah.
He had said to the people around him,
Count
I am going
blinks.
to blink once I've had my head cut off to
So
show
the brain
that life,
can still...
or the brain
Yeah.
can continue to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Death. Okay, so yeah, we queried that.
So you weren't having any of it?
Well, no, possibly for a few seconds till the oxygen stops being fed to the cells because the blood has drained away. But, you know, nothing spectacular. So
Alright,
go on.
well, along the similar sort of lines, right? This is quite a few years ago. This fella sort of upset the royal family doing something, right? So they said that this isn't
It
good.
wasn't Ben Alton at that Jubilee thing, was it?
I can't remember what it was, and they said, right,
That was terrible.
we're gonna cut your head off. You know, you gotta show people that you can't be doing what you've been doing.
What was this, the 1970s? When you say a couple of years ago, you mean maybe sort of...
Was it the olden days when the
Ages
phones
ago.
weren't very good?
Ages ago.
Yeah.
Ages ago, sure.
So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So
Very philosophical.
Yeah, imagine that, when your nearest going
Cut your head off.
This was literally ages ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go
Simon
on.
Sharma's History of Britain.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
So-
and even before that, which is yonks before, when it was all mental and different. Sorry, Carl, go on.
So he's having his head cough, and he's resigned to it.
it's the day before. He's kind of got it into his head now that I'm not going to have my head much longer.
Sure.
So he said, let's make use of this.
Yeah.
He said, I wonder how long like the body can stay alive without my head on it, right? So they were like, oh, I don't know. So
Hoover.
so
The jailers?
whoever he was asking.
These jailers with one eye.
Yeah.
Get that punk.
So he said,
No, wait a minute, I've got an interesting scientific experiment, jailer. Well,
Yeah.
fair enough.
What is it?
So he said, what I want to do, right? He said, you know, surely it's my last right. You know, I'm gonna be dead tomorrow.
Sure.
So let's
He
do a
didn't draw
test.
it out this long, did he?
Yeah, he said, let's test this out. You know, he said, do us a favour. He said, you know, it's my last day. What I want you to do is, you're gonna cut my head off. Let's put a white line on the floor
Right.
and see if, you know, because there's no point asking how far he can sort of walk without an head if there isn't a line, because you don't know what to count. Do you know what I mean? If he loses his head and is running around all over the place, you can't really count
That's
that.
not impressive enough, yeah.
So they said, let's make a white line.
Sure.
Who said
And-
this? He did or they did?
I think they started to join in with him and saying, well, let's make this a... you know.
You guess it, go on.
So,
They got Norris McWhirter there. The Guinness people.
Oh, yeah.
so they said, let's get this white line,
Yeah.
and
Dedication's all he needs.
we'll do this tomorrow. And he said, all right, then I'll see you in the morning. So we got-
I'll see you in the morning. Night, night, sleep tight. Bye-bye.
I love the fact that Carl knows exactly what was said.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, he doesn't know the story
Yeah.
or what order it is in
Yeah,
or when
but
it
he knows
was.
exactly what
or
was
who
said.
says what, but he knows the introduction. Alright then, see you in the morning. Bye, little kissy, kissy, kissy. Oh, I'm not like that. Oh, you joker.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Yeah, anyway.
so he gets up,
Do you want a paper tomorrow? No, I'm alright. Go on.
he gets up, and they say, right, you know, today's the day and that. And he said, well, you know, I've got used to the idea. So here's a white line for you.
Got used to the idea.
Go on.
So they go, right, you ready then? And he said, alright, go on. And they cut his head off, and the body walked 32 steps without a head.
Wow.
32 steps.
Incredible.
And that's the lesson, really.
Did it get as far as it walked along the white line, did it?
Yeah, it stayed along the white line, did 32 steps, and then started to stumble a bit, and it just fell over.
yeah.
But, you
Yeah,
know,
it
it was a test that your body can still keep alive for a little bit
Yeah.
when you've lost your head.
Absolute twaddle. Absolute twaddle.
What do you reckon you can do then without an head? How many steps?
Nothing. There'd be muscular spasm, right?
Yeah. It would twitch a bit.
It would, yeah. You could not distinctly take 32 steps. The body... Well, don't...
Yeah.
Is the doctor still on the line?
Yeah.
The fella that bought 6 parrots.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could have got 32 steps.
Right, so
The
you don't
headed
believe
man
that?
doing a bit of line dancing.
Right, you don't believe that, but something that you do believe that a cockroach can live a week without an head.
It can. Slightly different kettle of fish there.
Why?
Wow, insect to human is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
That difference.
there's not that much difference in
Well, of
some
course there
insects. Do you know that a snake has a heart and lungs and kidneys and stuff?
Go on.
No, well, I'm just saying.
So?
You're making out as if like they're a totally different like being.
Species. I am making that up. I mean, call me old-fashioned.
Do you know what you're talking about there? I don't want you embarrassing yourself, Rick.
Yeah, I am suggesting they're totally different beings. Yeah, that is. Yeah. Now, Carl, the cockroach is a very different thing. The interesting there is that it lives without its head, because a lot of it's on. There's some of them are phototropic, chemotropic. Some of them just literally have irritation and muscle memory. I mean, they do have a central nervous system, but it's very different. So if you lose the head, it bypasses a lot of that anyway. All this is run around. The reason it dies is because it can't take on water. But it's very different to a man, right, having consciousness and then losing that, and the body's still going, no, I think I remember what I was going to do here.
Yeah, so
I'm going
call
to
out and
carefully
walk along the
walk
white line.
32 steps along this white line. Imagine you just looking down going, oh, missed a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe the head was in the corner going, left,
Yeah.
left, left, oh, he's now, ooh.
Well, let's just put it out. I mean, if anyone listening has maybe had a relative beheaded, maybe in a horrendous car accident, but they got up, maybe they went for a walk, they had a little chat before they passed on.
Carl.
Get in touch.
Carl, you are my favourite being. You are my favourite species.
Now, you, Carl, may not be particularly different genetically from a cockroach. You are,
Why can
generally
cockroaches
speaking.
do that? Why whoever made them went,